Last year I took Paramount Plus 3-month trial to see what was going on there when I came across this Yellowjackets thing. What the fuck is a yellow jacket? So I looked it up. In 1996, a New Jersey high school girls soccer team travels, their plane crashes, and some of the team members are driven to cannibalism. Huh, I gave it a try and it turned out to be pretty damn good. The cast and characters were all very nice and the story was very intriguing, even though it dragged a little bit, especially on the plane crash timeline, and I thought the horror was a little too subdued for me, even though we had great chilling scenes like Laura Lee's death. But despite some minor setbacks, it left me definitely looking forward to Season 2. Episode 1. Season 2 picks up 2 months after Jackie's death, and this is something that pissed me off so much at the end of Season 1 because they tease a shocking death the entire fucking season, and then when Jackie dies, it's from fucking exposure. It's from fucking exposure. Nobody killed her, she wasn't eaten, nothing of that, she died from cold. I mean, come on, it was sad, but it was really fucking underwhelming. Anyway, we see Nat and Travis gearing up to go look for Javi because sure, Javi's gonna be alive in the cold. Fucking Jackie couldn't survive a night, but Javi's gonna be just fine. And you know what? This is so absurd that I bet you he's gonna be alive. Then Lottie does some Wiccan bullshit and Nat's not happy about it at all. We then see flashes of the girls being rescued and Lottie being completely insane and becoming a cult leader before seeing a mock interrogation Misty is doing with Shauna about Adam's murder.
Oh, so he couldn't get it up, huh? Is that why you murdered him?
Misty is fucking awesome. We then see Thaisa buying a new dog because, you know, the last one had some issues. And then we see her talking to... I don't remember who this is.
Is that Biscuit?
No, eat it. Biscuit is dead. He's locked in her basement. We then go to Misty, who's reading a post on Reddit in Elijah Wood's voice that shows her he's onto something in Adam's murder case before going to Shauna's house where Callie confronts her about Adam. And this scene is so awesome because the dialogue and the acting are so on point. Shauna is this selfish, deceitful person who tries to play the victim no matter what, and Callie is this insufferable teenager whose only goal is to rebel against and clash with her mom. Just great. We then go back to the woods where Shauna is talking to... Jesus fucking Christ, Shauna, what the fuck? Then back in the present, Shauna tells the happiest cuck ever that Adam had an art studio and that they should check it out for something linking him to her. Simone is having a perfectly adequate reaction to seeing Thaisa picking up their son from school. Missy goes to the motel to find out what happened to Nat. Shauna and Backstreet Boy fuck on the studio because, well, I guess that's what you do when you find paintings of your naked wife drawn by another man. Hey man, you do you, man. Then back in the woods, we see Missy being punished for the luau from hell, Shauna contemplating Jackie's ear, and Nat discussing with Ben how unlikely it is that Javi is still alive, not only because it has been already 2 months, but because they have already built a huge map of the area around them and never found any trace of him. Missy then finds out Nat was taken, and the cuck listens to Last Resort while contemplating how much of a cuck he is, and wait, I love Papa Roach too. Anyway, Shauna and Justin Timberlake get rid of evidence. Thaisa finds out she's the real Slim Shady. Hey man, don't go in there, man.
This was a mistake.
Yeah, no shit, lady. Run, Steve, run! Travis has a panic attack and Lottie essentially begins her cult with her chest stuff that calms him down. Nat stabs a bitch and finally meets Lottie in the middle of some fucked up shit in the woods. Kelly discovers Adam's driver's license, and her mother, 25 years before, finally decides to take the plunge into cannibalism. And I would normally act disgusted or surprised, but that's what we are here for, I guess, right? And in this ending, we see another huge highlight for the series, the song. The soundtrack is fucking awesome. Anyway, you never know what these people had planned out from the beginning and what they are making up as they go, but this Nat Travis Lottie stuff seems really well planned out to me. Season 1 implies Travis was kind of running from the cult before ending up dead, and now we see how the cult, since the woods, has so much impact on Nat and how she has always butted heads with Lottie about it, and that's really nice. Episode 2. In the meat shed, and how glorious is it that they chose to stash Jackie's body in the meat shed. Shauna lies to Jackie about what happened to her ear, and this is great because Shauna is such a fucking liar that she tries to trick her unconscious into believing something she knows is not true. While in the cabin, the girls discuss how fucked up the whole situation is. Jackie then teases Shauna to eat her flesh, and convinces her to apply makeup to Jackie's corpse. Back in the present, insufferable teenager is insufferable, and homeboy just wants to smash. She calls him a child, to which he responds,
"My mom wants to know if you want chocolate chip pancakes."
She then breaks up with him, and Van notices Thaisa is sleepwalking through the woods again. She then goes after her, and we see through Thaisa's eyes that she has been following this figure, and the series go full lost, and what the fuck is that? Van then catches her before she falls off a cliff, and tries to convince Thaisa that maybe Lottie can help her, but Thaisa's not having any of it.
Yeah, you move a muscle all now.
Well, you better, Van, shit's getting pretty serious. Back in the present, Thaisa is going crazy trying not to sleep, and back in the woods, Lottie has some sort of partying ritual with Travis before him and Nat go off looking for Javi. They then argue about the cult stuff, and I really like that you have some characters who adhere to the cult, some that say, well, what's the harm in what Lottie's doing, and other characters that don't want to hear the first thing about it. When the cultists took Nat in the end of season 1, I thought they would go straight into the evil cult thing, but they didn't. I mean, don't worry, I know we'll get there, but I really like that they didn't just jump straight into it. I think their approach to the subject has been great, and in this scene we see how the cult drives this wedge between Nat and Travis, literally and symbolically. This is really turning into a society, and as Travis says,
everyone has their role.
Back in the present, Lottie tells Nat how wonderful the cult is, as the girl Nat stabbed before shows up with Lottie's drink, and Lottie goes full diva and tells her,
I asked for ashwagandha. I want my focus increased, not my libido.
to which she responds,
Sorry, Charlotte.
wait, who the fuck is Charlotte? Oh, is that what Lottie's short for? Oh, okay then. I don't think I knew that. And in the woods, Taissa finds out what Shauna has been doing to Jackie's body, and we have this great scene that I'm really torn about. The scene itself is great.
Holy Christ.
Yeah, and you're fucking useless. But it doesn't make much sense to me. Of course, braiding Jackie's hair and putting makeup on her is beyond fucked up, but why is it so much worse than keeping the body in the meat shed and having Shauna spending all day doing God knows what in there? Well, now they know what. Shit is fucked up anyway. I don't see why one is so much more fucked up than the other. Shauna then lies to her detective friend and her daughter, and God, you gotta give it to Melanie Linsky and the writers. How goddamn sleazy this woman is. You see, her insufferable teenage daughter is insufferable because that's what teenagers are. But Shauna's just bad. Which is really interesting because we have this kind of an ensemble cast, but I kinda see her as the main character. And to have a main character that is this despicable, sneaky, manipulative person is really unusual. So props to them for making this work. Missy then sees Elijah Wood dressed as Elijah Wood. Nat lies to Travis about Javi, and Lottie tells Nat a pretty fishy story about how Travis died. She tells her how he wanted to meet an entity from the woods, so he rigged his neck to a crane to pass out so he could talk to it. And holy fucking shit, what is this? Jesus! Oh my god. You know, one of my main criticisms of season 1 was how subdued the horror was. But season 2 dives into the horror territory head first. Between Jackie's body, the figure in the woods, Taissa's image moving on the mirror, and now this Laurel's vision, it's been great. It's not just any horror, it's a scary as fuck horror. Anyway, she tells her this really suspicious story about how the buttons to the crane got stuck and he suffocated. And Ned tells her how it is. Lottie then gives her this soap opera look as she walks away, and it is revealed that Taissa is going cray-cray as the girls are finally ready to get rid of Jackie's body. As Jackie burns and Travis and Nat have sex in a scene that shows how Lottie's influence is growing over Travis, the same entity, I assume, that set Laurel's teddy bear on fire drops a thick layer of snow on Jackie's funeral pyre. The survivors then wake up to the smell of freshly roasted Jackie. And look, the whole ordeal with Jackie's corpse is messed up. We knew this time would come and that it would be fucked up. They teased us forever about this. But the fact that they chose, and I mean the writers, to cook her body and then do this back and forth between them eating Jackie and them feasting in this luxurious banquet just made it so much more bizarre. Now this is great, it's wonderful storytelling. And the look on Ben's face in the end is glorious because I can't decide if he was like, oh my god, that's fucked up, or if he was like, oh my god, I'm fucked. Because you know, the odds of survival are not really in his favor. Episode 3. Episode 3 starts with Ben looking like he's not doing too well and whoops, flashback. Oh yeah, that definitely doesn't look good for Ben. And we keep getting these, I don't know, TV glitch-like effects. Did we have this last season? I really don't remember. We then see the girls coming to terms with what happened as they plan on what to do with Jackie's remains. Taissa having weird visions and this. Before we go to Misty and Elijah Wood. And why does it always look like Elijah Wood is the same character in the same clothes everywhere? I mean, I'm not a big Elijah Wood connoisseur, but I feel like besides the Lord of the Rings, he always plays the same character that dresses in the same peculiar way in everything he does. They're pretending to be FBI and they're going to interview Randy about Nat. And fuck me if I remember who the fuck Randy is.
I've known him since elementary school.
Alright, then we go to Shauna and Jeff, who cooks at home. And this season has these perfectly timed little comedic moments that are just great.
Who's the strawberry lube?
Backstreet Boy then tells Shauna how he tried to be wild at one time when he suggested they try the
strawberry lube
before they discuss why she cheated on him. And it's like, Jesus man, show some self-respect. She cheated on you because she doesn't love or respect you, idiot. And this is not helping. They then leave and homeboy reaches levels of pathetic that shouldn't even be possible. Oh god. Back in the woods, Shauna's in distress because
I don't know what's gonna happen next.
oh, I guess Ben and his flashbacks have a pretty good idea. Anyway, they decide to throw Shauna a baby shower and Nat leaves Jackie's remains on the wreckage of the plane. And the duality of the situation and how the writers are dealing with it is very nice. The fact that this was their friend, that they ate the girl, the fucked up way it all happened, and now how Nat's words ring so true.
I'm sorry for what we did. Who knows? Meeting you could be the reason why we survived the winter, so thanks.
make the situation so much more complex, and they keep adding layers to it. Randy finally confesses he saw Ned being taken, and Van follows a sleepwalking Thaisa through the woods, and
Hey, how do you know where you're going? He chose me. Who's he? The one with no eyes. Is that who you always follow? Only when she lets me. Then who is she? Thaisa.
ooh. I really appreciate how they're going full horror this second season. Thaisa's stuff has been pretty spooky, but the scariest thing by far is this man.
I know my wife.
Ugh. Shauna then decides to take matters into her own hands because Jeff's not gonna do shit, and I gotta tell you, I love the contrast between sweet Melanie Linsky and Shauna's darkness. It's something so unexpected, but that the actress pulls off great.
People are always so sweaty when you kill them.
Ben then continues his farewell flashback as it turns into a what-if situation that has him deciding to ditch the trip, come out, and stay with his partner instead of going to the trip and continue to live a life that was expected of him but was not what he wanted. And this season, the writers have been really knocking it out of the park with these little details. This could be just another mandatory flashback before you kill off a character. But the fact that they add this wishful happy what-if scenario and juxtapose it with his current sad state make his story so much more depressing, just as the cooking of Jackie's body and the feast imagery made the cannibalism scene so much more messed up. Ben was never that important of a character, but they're making a hell of a job making me care about the guy. It's these little details that elevate the whole thing.
You okay, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess no. Thaisa then sees her reflection mouthing something, and my fellow watchers, if there's something I can't do to fucking save my life is lip reading. So I have no idea what the fuck she's saying, but I guess this is a reference to Van? So I guess she goes after Van. We then go to Misty and Elijah Wood as they release Jeff, and Frodo curiously refers to the pair as Sherlock Holmes and Professor Moriarty instead of Holmes and Watson. Lottie keeps trying to draw Ned into the cold, and in the past, Lottie gives Shauna a blanket for the baby with a symbol drawn on it, and Ned questions it. As the girls argue about the symbol, and again, I love what they're doing with Lottie and Ned, Shauna's nose bleeds over the blanket and something starts pounding on the roof of the cabin. The girls go out, see dead birds falling from the sky, and Lottie says,
She gathers blessings.
and it's just so creepy the way she calls this a blessing. But then again, just as with Jackie, if this hadn't happened, they would probably starve, and I'm really loving this code thing. I really like how they're taking their time with it in the past and didn't jump straight into the evil code conspiracy thing in the present. I love how in the present the code is this hippie bullshit, but in the woods it is this sinister thing that has the girls seeing fucked up, macabre shit as blessings. And I love the new ones. Are they blessings? Sure, shit is fucked up, but they are alive because of it, aren't they? One interesting detail to point out is that Ned thanks Jackie for helping them survive the winter, and Lottie calls the birds dropping dead a blessing. So even though they are on opposite ends of the code stuff, they both agree, each in their own way, that good or bad, they are still alive because fucked up shit keeps happening. Episode 4. So episode 4 starts with Van once again following sleepwalking Thaisa around, except this time we see she has been mapping the trees Thaisa wanders off to. We then cut to this really weird dream where Thaisa sees herself walking around looking like a runway model. What
the fuck is this?
She then wakes up on the side of the road in a car with an empty tank and a file on the Yellowjackets on the passenger seat. Miserable cuck tells terrible woman that the cops knew about the affair, and Nat asks Lottie where she's going.
The bank.
Well, yeah, she certainly has a look of someone who has to go to a goddamn bank on her face. Nat then asks Lottie for her keys because she's going to the farmer's market with Lisa, and Lottie hands her the keys. Okay, so how the fuck are you gonna go to your bank now? Everybody ghosts Misty, and she finds out Elijah Wood also likes musicals. And back in the woods, someone has been stealing bear meat, and the girls get into a discussion about the lack of food and how Lottie's supposed powers have been helping them survive. Things escalate, and Nat ends up challenging Lottie to a hunt. And I really like this growing divide and these little clashes between believers and non-believers. Also, this girl's a pretty good actress. Nat and Lisa discuss the restraints of the cult on their way to Lisa's mom's house. Lottie wants more meds because her visions have returned, and the girls set off to the sound of music directly out of a Fallout game. Shauna finds out what her face has been lying. Missy's shocked to discover Elijah Wood is rich. Well, Missy, whose boat did you think that was? Nat in the past finds a huge moose dead under a frozen lake, and Nat in the present finds out she has more in common with Lisa than she thought. The almighty Shauna then decides the only way to make peace with her daughter is to tell the confused teenager that her mother is a murderer and along with her father covered up the killing of her boyfriend. Nice parenting, Shauna. Way to go. Never change. The selfishness in this woman is unbelievable. Back in the woods, Van's trying to convince Thaisa that the trees she has been finding while sleepwalking are forming a giant symbol through the woods, but Thaisa doesn't believe her.
Van, this is just like a bunch of random points. You could make any kind of shape from these.
What do you mean, woman? The symbol's right there, can't you see it? Ben, who I don't know if he's remembering stuff or making them up in his head, thinks about how his boyfriend used to keep mementos from his past relationships when Ned returns asking for help to get the moose out of the lake. And boy, did these people get ready fast? Lottie finds Laura Lee's plane intact, teddy bear and all, and climbs down a shaft into a shopping mall where she finds all the girls, Laura Lee included, in this massive delusion that almost had her freeze to death in the woods, and Nat despairs as the girls fail to retrieve the moose. And I really like Laura Lee's presence in this season. I really like the character and the way she went out last season. I remember it being the first big what the fuck is going on moment for me in the series. And she's in the biggest what the fuck moment in this season too. Seriously, what the fuck was that? The two girls are returned to safety as Lottie finds a threat, and Van and Taissa find who? Who? Motherfucking Javi. I told you this motherfucker was gonna be alive. I knew it!